This Cupcake Plus.
Hello everyone, my name is Christian Ngozi Akalono of Cake Plus Chops and Event Ventures. Today I'm taking you on introduction to baking. Baking is an interesting thing. I love baking because something that I do for myself and for my family, for the benefit of the family rather than going out to buy junk public snacks. I prefer baking in my home. At least you're sure of what you're baking, you're sure of ingredients, quality ingredients and all that. I see baking as science because it has procedure. You must know the procedure, whether you're a beginner, whether you're a professional. You must follow the procedure. That is very, very important. We have a lot of ingredients for baking, but I'm going to show you the basic ingredients today for baking as a beginner. We also have a lot of equipment, but today I'm also going to show you the basic equipment to start off your baking business. Now I'm starting off with the ingredients now. Here I have my granulated sugar for baking. Here I have my flour, already sieved flour. The essence of sieving it is you make it lighter, which is good for your baking. Here I have my margarine. This is margarine. Some use butter. You either use margarine or butter, but I use margarine because it's more economical, while butter is very expensive. So it's up to you to know what you actually want to use. So here is egg. You use room temperature egg. Please use room temperature egg. Later I'll teach you how to break the egg. Here you have your baking powder. This is also baking powder. This is a smaller size of it. This is baking powder. I'll also teach you how to measure your baking powder, which is very important. This is bicarbonate of soda. This is instant yeast. These three are raising agents. Okay, they are raising agents. Please note that. Here I have my flavor. I have chocolate flavor. Here is butterscotch. Here is strawberry flavor. Here is chocolate flavor. Please use chocolate flavor when you're baking your chocolate cake. Strawberry flavor when you're making your strawberry cake. Vanilla chocolate when you're using your chocolate, when you're baking your chocolate cake. And also so you don't mix things, you don't mix them up. You don't bake your chocolate cake and use your strawberry flavor. No, it's wrong. Please note that. Very important. Very, very important. Now I said I'm going to teach you how to break the egg. Very important. Here I have my my bowl is for the wet ingredients. Now here is another bowl. I have these two, and this is the way I break my egg. You can see this egg is not healthy. You can see it is bad. Okay, you can easily throw this one away. I'm discarding it. I'm not using it. I'm breaking another one. Good. You can see that this is a better egg. This is good. This is a good egg. Now you turn it over to this. You turn it over here. You continue breaking it here and turn it, irrespective even if it's 100 or 50. You gradually break in your egg and be putting them here. You break, you pour it here, you break, you pour it here. The reason being that if you break, and just like this one that is bad, you can easily discard it. But if you break an egg that is bad and a drop falls into all the eggs you have broken earlier, you have to throw everything away. Reason being that that drop of bad one that has entered into this one has contaminated the entire egg and is not healthy. You have to throw everything away. Please note that, very important. Now, how to measure your baking powder? This is how to measure your baking powder. This is how to measure your baking powder. You level it. You level it. Please level it. Okay? It is also applicable to your bicarbonate of soda. But when it comes to yeast, please, this is the same instant yeast. I had to put it in an airtight container to preserve it, to make sure that air doesn't enter. When you get your own, this instant, please empty it into an airtight container to save the lifespan, because if air enters it, it will go bad. Now, how do you measure your yeast? This is how you measure your yeast. Heap. This is the way you measure your yeast. You don't level it. Please note that. Very important. Now we have tools for our baking. Basic tools. We have a lot of tools, like I said earlier, but we need to tell you the basic ones you need. Now here we have our measuring cup. This is 1 cup. This is half cup. This is quarter cup, and so on and so forth. We also have our measuring spoon. Here is 1 tablespoon, half tablespoon, 1 teaspoon, half teaspoon, and so on and so forth. Here, this is whisk, to whisk the egg. Here is our measuring scale. This is our measuring scale. Please, whenever you're measuring, you can measure your flour, your sugar, your margarine, whatever you want to measure. Please, the palm must be on it before you zero it. When you zero it, you can now measure whatever you want to measure to get accurate measurement. Please, very important. Now, here is our baking pan. We have several, but this is a round baking pan and it's 8 inches. How do you know it's 8 inches? You use your tape rule. This is what you do. From here to here is 3 inches. Okay, you can see 3 inches. Then you measure from the middle, not from the side, from the edge, from the middle, this way. You can see it. That is your 8 inches. So this is 8 inches by 3. Some say 3 inches by 8. That is how you measure your pan. And this is a shallow pan, you can see. While this one is a deep pan. This is 4 inches by 10. You can also have something higher, like 6 inches or more. Please note that. Now inside this my pan, I have parchment paper. If you're baking a delicate cake like red velvet, like chocolate cake, please grease your pan. When you grease your pan with your margarine. After greasing your pan with margarine, you use your flour. Dust it with your flour. After dusting with your flour, place your parchment paper. How do you get the size? You put your parchment paper, trace it and cut it out. Trace it and cut it out. This, you put your parchment paper. You put in the oven. The reason is that so that it can easily turn out whenever you want to turn it out. If you don't have parchment paper, please use cut out A4 paper. or you cut out your brown paper. Now here is our cupcake pan. This is our cupcake pan. You don't grease your cupcake pan. This is 6 by 1 or 1 by 6. You don't grease it. Rather, you use your what? Cupcake paper. This is cupcake paper. Just put your cupcake paper. Put your cupcake paper. You put your butter. You put it in the oven and bake. This is a 12 by 1. You can also have 24 by 1. This is our donut pan. If you want to bake your donut, this is the pan you use to bake your donut. You roll your dough and place it there and trace it. If you want to fry your dough, this is what you use. This is donut cutter. You roll out your dough, cut it, and you fry your dough. All this you put into practice as we progress. Okay? Now, this is your whisk to whisk the egg. Here, I have 2 bowls here. This is for measuring my dry ingredients, while this one is for my wet ingredient. Now here is my cupcake box. This is how it looks. This is for 6 cupcakes. You can have 12, you can have 24. Now, the cupcake box has a base. This is the base. This is the base. This is the way you fix it. The essence of the base, that's where you put your cupcake so that it doesn't wobble. It will be firm. Cover it and you're good to go. Now this is my, this is my cake board. This is my cake board. How do you measure it? This is how you measure your cake board. The same way you measured your cake pan. In the middle, this is 10 inches. Now we got 8 inches. Our cake pan is 8 inches. Now you use cake inches. This is our 8 inches pan. Let's assume it's our 8 inches cake. The board you're going to use for it is what? 10 inches. You can see it. The essence is so that you have space. You can see the space here to be able to, this is your cake, to be able to showcase your design, pipe your design, okay, for butter icing. But if it's for fondant, for 8 inches, you're using 12. That means you're adding 4 inches. While for butter icing, you're adding 2 inches on the board and on the box. For fondant, you're adding what? 4 inches on the board and on the what? Box. That means if I'm baking 8 inches cake and it's fondant, my board will be what? 12 inches, while my box will be 12 inches. But it's for butter icing, it's going to be 10 inches board, 10 inches box. This is my cupcake. This is my box now. This is my cake box. You can see it. It doesn't have base because that is where the box will sit, where the board will sit rather. You can see it. You can see I've opened it. Now how do you use it? This is my board. You open one side and slide in the board with a cake before covering it. Before covering it. You're good to go. Cover it and you're good to go. But if you don't do this, you start fixing your cake this way, it will be messy and the possibility of losing the designs are there. So please note, you don't cover it completely before sliding in your cake. You cover the other side, leave the other side after sliding in your cake before you cover it. The same way you measured your box, and your cake pan is the same way you measure your box. So please, this is an introductory part of it. Subsequently, we'll be taking you on various stages of cake baking. Please don't fail to subscribe, and please also don't fail to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we have another training. Most importantly, you must always practice and practice, because like I said earlier, baking is science. You have to follow the procedure. You have to get used to how to do all this. It's not like cooking, which is art, that you put this and that and it turns out to be food. No, if you do that in baking, your end product will turn out to something else. So please and please practice. Thank you for watching. God bless you.